morning or afternoon, wherever you are. It's been a while since I made a video about EminiFx. So today, let's talk about EminiFx. Let's talk about where we are, updates, what you can do, when you're gonna get your money, because I know that I made a promise to you all that I was going to stay with you till the end, till every single person receive their money from the receiver. So now let's talk about quickly where we are now. The receiver a few months ago established a portal, a website where you have to go and tell the receiver how you want your money to be sent, whether you want it to go directly to your bank account, through wire transfer, or whether you want a check mailed to you. But they provided a portal for you to put that information. Now, I want to talk about a few things. And those things are very, very important, especially for people who give money to a third party to invest in the mini FX. Now, let's talk about the first part. The first part is um, you have to go to the website, to the portal, which is right here. You can see it, and make sure that you tell the receiver where to send the money. That's the first thing. The second thing is most of you have already identified the amount of money that you invested. You sort of agree to it. The receiver has the information, and you just have to confirm that information. Most of you have done that. But however, there are some of you that have dispute. In other words, some of you, the receiver may have you as an investor of, let's say, $5,000, but you've actually invested 15. In other words, you and the receiver have some sort of a dispute as to the real amount of money that were invested. Now, if you fall into that category, you have until December 16 to do that. In other words, if there are dispute or things that you don't agree with, you have to do it by December 16. After December 16, which is about 2 weeks from today, you're not going to be able to do that. So it's very important that if you have dispute, in other words, what I'm saying is if the money that the receiver said you have invested, if that is not the correct amount, if you have a dispute, you need to finalize, establish it by December 16 using the portal. Okay? Now, don't forget December 16 is the date that you have. After December 16, forget about it. Now, I have said this before, and I'm going to say this again. If you give money to a third party, right? Let's say you give money to a pastor. Let's say you give money to a friend to invest for you in EminiFx, and that person obviously has an account. That person took your money and invested under their name, not necessarily under your name, okay, under their name. Now, the receiver doesn't have your name. What you have to do is send a letter to the receiver, put the receiver on notice that this person, hopefully you know the person's name you gave the money to, and you have to tell the receiver how much money you give to this person, when did you give that money to this person, and that this person supposedly were to invest that money in EminiFx. So if the receiver has any money that he's going to return to that person, and that money be held until you and that person can figure out how much of that money you're getting. Because otherwise, if the money is gone to this person, you may never see that money again. And the receiver cannot be responsible for that. The receiver is not going to sort of fight for you, especially if they don't have your name, they don't know who you are. It's up to you to do that yourself. And I've said this in prior videos. I'm saying this today again. You have to do this for yourself. Now, a lot of people have been asking the questions. Well, professor, how much money I'm gonna get? I invested 100,000. How much I'm gonna get? Now, based on all the things that I've reviewed, all the documents that have been filed in court, and the process by which the receiver is going to distribute the fund, I can safely say that most of you, if not all of you, probably going to get up to about 65% of the money you invested. And I know some of you probably hear the word 65% and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose $35 of every $100 that I invested. Understand that the money that you have invested, okay, that money, part of it was a loss. And the reason is very simple because Eddie Alexander had spent some of that money before. And he had also used some of that money to pay older investors, people, investors that came before you. So a significant, like a good part of that chunk of that money was lost. So because let me put it to you this way, there was about $296 million that were collected from all of you. Okay. The receiver had only been able to collect 150, $56 million. Okay. If you want to add interest, it could be a little more, but let's say 156 million. So there's about 100, 140 million that's just nowhere to be found. So the receiver doesn't have all the money. So there's no way you're going to get 100% of what you invested. So whatever the receiver give you, based on some sort of a mathematical uh, 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 system, is what you get. Now, the question is, where will you get the rest of your money? Who would make you whole? Where did you get the rest of the money? And that's the reason why I've mentioned before and I spoke before about this class action lawsuit against some of the pastors and the Adventist church, against the Adventist church, who those pastors sort of use their position to basically to promote the Ponzi scheme, and that the Ponzi scheme would not have been as successful, and people would not have invested if it wasn't for those pastors at the Adventist church. So the Adventist church and those pastors are being sued to make the difference. So this is how you get the difference back. But for now, this is what's going to happen. Now, the receiver said that he's trying his best to try to get some money out either before the end of this year, which is in the next few weeks, or early next year in January. And the system, as I said before, is very complicated. So I know it's hard for people to understand how complicated it is because it seems like simple, right? You invested your money, somebody took your money, and then that person is in prison. You should get the money back and you shouldn't have to pay taxes on it. I get it. I understand it. I wish it was that simple. But in the United States, nothing in the law is simple. Everything is complicated. Okay. And that's the reason we need lawyers who have experience, who understand to help us because it's all complicated. Now, having said this, I know that the receiver is trying his best to try to get the money to you. You're gonna get the money. You're gonna get it as soon as he can wrap up everything. Now, I want to tell everyone, and I want you to know this. Eddie Alexson is in federal prison, and Eddie Alexson is still filing papers, motion, end quote, trying to delay you receiving the money. In fact, the last thing he filed was 2 days ago, and the judge denied it so that we can move forward. We can allow the receiver to move forward to be able to give you your money back. So Eddie Alexander is not helping us by constantly filing all this dubious motion, which really are asinine if you ask me. He's not going to get anywhere. He's already been convicted. No one is going to listen to Eddie Alexander as to how the money is supposed to be distributed. The money doesn't belong to him. The money belongs to the people who invested the money. So the court is not going to listen to anything Eddie Alexander has to say. He has no credibility. He's in prison. But yet, the law allows him to do what he's doing. So he's doing it in order to slow the process down. So having said all of this, guys, I hope that uh, either at the end of this year, this month, December, or early next month, you're going to get your money. Now, some of you may get two checks. You may get a certain amount of money now, and then you may get something, for, let's say, in the spring. It all depends how the receiver set it up. You might not get everything at once. Let's say you invested 100,000. At one point, you may get, let's say, 30,000. or 32,000 out of your 100. And then at a certain point in the future, you may get another 28 or 30,000, which would equal to about 60%. That is if you invested 100,000. So the first check you get may not be the only check you get. So if you have any questions, certainly feel free to ask me under the video. I have my email. You can certainly send me an email. I'll be too happy to respond to any email or question that you may have. Because when I started this fight on behalf of the Haitian community, almost now 3 years ago, almost, a lot of people couldn't understand because they actually believed that A.D. Alexson was this genius guy who came up with this great idea that every Haitian was going to be millionaire, was going to be rich. But of course, I know better. I knew this was all a Ponzi scheme. And I've tried to warn the community about it. But for the last 3 years, I have been with you steadfastly, trying to walk this through because I know a lot of you that I've spoken to over the years have worked very, very hard for your money. And some of you, your entire savings have gone into EminiFx, thinking that this was going to help you. It turned out like a disaster. You didn't get the help or you didn't make the money that you were hoping to make. And I try to use this platform to educate people about financing, to educate people about investment, to educate people about how to do your own due diligence, your own research. And if you don't have the information, ask somebody who knows. All of us, know something, and we all work at different areas. So if you ask me something I don't know, I may know somebody who may know the answer to your question. So be careful on how you invest your money. Be careful on people promising you to make you rich, to make you millionaires, because if they promising you they're going to make you millionaire, the question you have to ask yourself is, are they a millionaire themselves, or how many people in their family they have made millionaires? So those are the things that I want you to pay attention to. I will continue to update you, and I'm hoping that by end of spring, all of you, every single one of you who have invested in EminiFx would have your money back. So thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so now. Send a link to your friend, especially those who are invested in EminiFx, so at least they have an update in terms of what's going on. And when you receive your check, please make sure you drop me a note. Let me know that you have received the money. That would make me happy. Thank you for watching.